So, professional women that I work with struggle with a particular problem. They tend to come to me with a desire to get more time. And that's really a fatal mistake. It's not more time that you need, it's better prioritization based on where you are today. So, if you're using old methods or old ways of looking at your calendar or looking at your list of priorities and not pivoting to where you are right now, it puts you in a quandary. So I'm going to introduce you to somebody, but first I'm going to tell you that I'm Dr. Toni Haley, and I am a board certified physician, and I also help through my company soartoexcellence.com. I equip professional women to work less, pass their boards, build their careers, improve their health and their relationships. So in every video, we're going to work through some work-life mastery problems that you guys bring and get you some strategy so you can implement it right after you watch it. All right. You can even get a piece of paper right now. I'm going to introduce you to my client really quickly because she can maybe tell me what she's been going through a little bit right now. So, doctor, come on up here. One of my super surgeons. Come on up here.
Hi.
Dr. Veronica Rupert. She and I will be talking to you again shortly
Yes.
about her experience working with me thus far. But tell them a little bit about yourself so they understand like who you are and what the problem is.
Yes. So I'm Dr. Veronica Rupert. I'm a urologist. I have been in practice for 3 years. My first 2 years, I was an employed physician, and I very quickly found out that that doesn't work for my lifestyle. I have a young child at home. I have a husband, and he's a youth minister. And I really wanted flexibility, freedom, and just access to being able to care for more people. So now I'm building something totally different and learning a lot along the way. So that's what Dr. Tony's been helping me with.
We've done some, thank you for sharing. The real issue before she came, we were trying to get through some boards. We were trying to, so we had the priorities have continued to shift. We've made a big move from one state to another. And now she's got the freedom and flexibility that comes with that move. But now she's like, okay, no problem. What's the new problem you're facing now?
So my new problem is having a long list of tasks that all seem to be time sensitive and having difficulty prioritizing them effectively so that I can really move the needle, get things done that need to get done, not sacrifice these other values.
All right. So I think this is a great time for us to maybe switch this up to a shared screen so I can kind of walk you just really in real time through the types of resources or the type of approach that will make this much easier. We want to make this easier for everybody. So, long list of tasks, raise your hand if you're a woman who is a professional and has a family. So let's state the problem. Busy professional
Mhm.
with family, child, you have extended family, you have you have a spouse, your church,
Yep.
these are a lot of things that are important to you, but we got to get it right. So you got a spouse. I'm going to put a spouse, you've got your church. Those are your main things, your child, long list of tasks for work. All right. Prioritizing them effectively has been difficult. First thing I'm going to tell you is let's talk about your values because we kind of have to anchor this. What matters most to you?
Faith,
Faith,
family, and freedom.
which is why we were able to make some of these moves. And
Mhm.
just so anybody who's watching, who's a medical professional, there's a lot of freedom that comes with having your licenses and your boards and things like that, which is how I ended up boards coaching and how we actually met
Mhm.
through a mutual friend. So that's a blessing. So main problem is not enough hours in the day. It's how it feels.
Yep.
And how is it affecting you?
It makes my anxiety. It brings up anxiety. It brings up self-doubt. Um, I also have ADHD, and the anxiety makes my meds less effective. That's the truth. And so it's not helpful to be anxious about these things because it makes me ineffective. And so um having peace, having an approach, a plan, is helpful in so many ways.
Yeah.
It's impacting my sleep. Like I feel like my wellness is really suffering.
Poor sleep. And it's almost like a little bit of, I feel like you were describing like a brain fog kind of feel.
Yes. Yeah.
And I really do believe that the decision fatigue plays into it. It's just like, oh, why do I have to even make more decisions? Now, keep in mind, she's a whole surgeon. She's perfectly capable of doing lots of things. And don't make her mad. She can cut you open. But poor sleep, and it also kind of doesn't feel like you're optimizing your day, maybe,
Yeah. I agree with that.
you know, optimized day, poorly optimized because you're not feeling great.
Mhm.
But now you actually do have more time. You're just not able. So we forgot to put health up here. Where do you want health to go?
Um, oh, that's
Yeah,
so,
health is important.
I know. I don't know where to put it because I'm like, there, it's almost like equal to like, I feel
Yeah,
like faith and health almost like go together because if you have faith, you have to take care of yourself. Like faith
yeah,
requires spiritual health, mental health, physical health.
yeah. Let's just put faith at the top because really you can't exercise all the things if you don't have your wellness. You know,
Mhm.
we can always say, we could say health and then put spiritual, mental, physical,
Yeah.
That's maybe a great way for you to think about it so that you can always say, well, my health is first. And we know that's a holistic thing, spiritual, mental, physical,
Mhm.
and even relationship health, because I know that's super important to you.
Mhm.
And so now you don't have to feel like, I mean, we like faith because it was F's faith, family. But does that make you feel like, okay, I've got my top three values? Does that feel like
Yeah.
you? Did we miss it? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So
Because spiritual health still encompasses faith.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think if you just keep it sorted, it prevents you from letting things slide
Mhm.
and blaming it on, oh, I had to get to church. Well, is that good? Is this schedule good for your health
Right.
overall? All right. So this is exactly, I just like to make it clear to people like this is how it's affecting you. This is why it's important. And how might these problems affect your family, which is super important to you?
Well, I definitely know if I am tired, I I don't have as much ability to serve or be present. When my day is not optimized, then I don't get whatever things I had on my list to get done. And then if I don't get those things done, depending on how time sensitive they are, they can spill into the evening, which is supposed to be family time. So then it takes time away from them. It becomes a cycle. Um,
Okay.
I've just recognized how important it is to
Yeah.
do things in the window that's that I've assigned it. And to assign a window because if not, then there's too much competition. Like this task is competing with dinner time. This task is competing with bedtime. This task is competing with, you know, other things that are also important.
So if you don't get a handle on it, and let's be clear, she's worked with me and we were successful in every project. So we were successfully and handled the boards. We'll talk about that another day. We successfully got her transitioned into a whole new lifestyle and all of that.
Yeah.
But new level, new devil, lots of other competing interests, right? And we got to get you back in a dance. She really likes dance. There's some things we want to make time for, like you said, let's allocate some time. So here's some tasks we want to think about. And she and I have already been kind of working through some things. So we've got, how do you want to categorize these tasks so that we can start putting them theoretically in some spaces, right?
I guess we could put like work, Uh,
No, because work is a little more complicated now that you're more of a contractor. But I feel like if we put the state that the work is in for these, because you're working in different states, why don't we just use the state to denote which job we're speaking of?
okay.
So we've got your MD option, we've got your WV option, we've got your PA option, we've got um bill pay, things you got to do.
And I would say, online or telehealth, you could call it.
Online bills, bill pay. Let's put health at the top again. We got some doctor appointments.
Mhm.
And we've got yours versus your son, right?
Yeah.
For mom, appointments for son. See?
And then,
What
um,
else?
ministry.
Ministry. And I'm putting them based on like, here's the things that matter to you. So I'm purposely putting work below
Yeah.
health and the ministry. What days do you need to put ministry top? Your husband's ministry.
Um, so it depends because the schedule, so there are scheduled things. Like
That's it.
Wednesday nights, Wednesday evenings
Right.
and Sunday mornings are like the standard. And
Okay.
the other days are, it depends on the week.
Understood. And this is where we're going to work a little bit. I really just feel like us working through it in real time, it really helps someone to see that it just requires us sitting down versus keeping it up here. I do think smart people struggle. Like, how much of it do you try to do in your head or get frustrated or don't write it all out?
Too many times I try to do it in my head.
That's what I'm thinking. So one of the reasons why I try to keep it clear. So if we're working big quarterly goals, we're not sure of some things, I try to get you guys to get clear on what the steps are. I try to have you pick what those goals are. And we've already picked that. We got some doctor's appointments. We've got some, locations we want to get to. We got some bills we want to do. And here's the action steps to go with it. So sometimes you have to literally just sit down and say,
Yeah.
when is this thing, and so you can start to see the pockets of opening. So one way to do that is to Wednesday evenings are blocked, Sunday morning from here to here is blocked, and throw your dance class in on Friday once or twice a month. You see what I'm saying? Or date night, is one night, dance is here. But that's one way to do it. Another way I like to consider is plugging it in like a loose calendar like this, where you're saying, let me at least get a pencil and just plug in. Because once you see these openings, you're going to feel better. You're
Yeah.
just going to fill in those Fridays, fill in those Wednesdays, throw in that one monthly appointment or two for yourself. And I use different color pens for that.
Mhm.
Um, and then sometimes I do it from a monthly point of view this way. I'll say, let me look at this from a zoomed out week one, what must get done. So remember you talked about time sensitive stuff?
Right.
I try to get those straight into the calendar, the deadlines.
Okay.
So I will go from a calendar view and just plug in the deadlines in red. Maybe the color coded still. Maybe the Maryland one is one color, the West Virginia is a different color. But get those colors in there, and you're like, oh, these are concrete dates. They're not moving. And then I can see what comes first, second, and third because I'm still putting them into an order, but it has to be calendar order, not emotional order, not, you know, I
Mhm.
literally take those color pens, line them up, assign, make my list just like this, and I assign them a color. What color do you want Maryland to be?
I don't know,
Color pens you might have, right? Or
fun.
highlighter. Do
You
you
could
see what I
use,
mean?
yeah, go in
Use your
order. Yellow.
highlighters. So
Yeah.
when you don't have color pens, you literally grab your highlighters and say, I have yellow, I have pink, I have blue, and you literally just highlight them and make yourself a key
Okay.
and color code it so that when you go to slap it on the calendar, and I've got green, I just didn't get up and get it. I got every color known to man, really. Um, but you start color coding. What color bills? Bills should be green, huh?
Yeah. Bills. Yeah.
Bills are green, and the PA assignment, we're not even sure about them quite yet. We're gonna make them red.
That'll work. Yeah,
Yeah, we're not in a hurry. We, ministry, that's royalty. We're gonna put that purple. Like, what color you want?
purple, good.
Purple is good, and that's too dark. So sometimes we have to just go with like what we can see. And you can turn, this is just me saying highlighters. Most of
Yeah,
us have
yeah.
a pack of them and we have all the colors and we can use that as our first step. And then, health is usually maybe green, but let's say we put some health colors in here. I give my kid their own color.
Yeah, JR's orange.
Let's see. Why am I like limited?
Weird. Huh.
I would just change, in this case, I'm going to change the ink for
Okay.
solidarity's sake and change, you see what I mean? I'm just going to change his
Yeah.
ink to
Yeah.
orange and then your ink to what color?
I actually use purple for myself.
Okay, cool. So see how so I recommend we kind of color code. Then I would bounce over here and bust out my this is where your calendar comes in. These deadlines aren't probably going to change much, but I do use erasable pens. I'm going to plug in and you can use digital, but a lot of us I really kinesthetic, just really do it by hand. Open up my actual planner and put those deadlines in their designated color. And then I can keep the color key for the upcoming add-ons. You see? And so your key might even be down here, whatever works. But I want to give you like real life examples so you can say, then I pull out my week 1 of the month or week 2 of the month. And maybe you put dates on here, your choice, right? But even a blank one, here's what I'm doing this week. Here's what I'm doing week 2. And so when you sit down with more data, you're either plugging it in by color or you're making a list this week. And you can put the dates of that week or whatever, week 1. But you see how this month has a focus?
Right.
Got to get, my son to his 2-year-old wild child check kind of thing, like this is the focus this month. We're not, even if we have to reschedule it, we're going to get this thing knocked out. So targets this month, you may want to put some key dates here and have it on the calendar in that visual right off the bat. You're like, whoa, that's coming up quicker than I thought. One thing, we'll do a conversation later on about balance wheels, but this is enough. This is my other thing I do. I zoom out for the year so that there's key dates, anniversaries, birthdays. I literally put them in before the year even gets going. And it's not too late for this year to really just map out a few things. Okay, key things that aren't moving: birthdays, anniversaries, celebrations, trips that are planned. Go on, get them out there. And it's fine to use your calendar so it's visual, but I like it on one sheet of paper when I'm planning. Does this help you to kind of like, it's not, don't expect it to all be in your head and don't expect it. Isn't that really the problem? We're trying to keep it up here. Something may take some strategy.
Yeah. I think also one key thing that you said is that once you have the deadlines down, you let that inform your order. Instead of,
That's
I'm doing so much thinking about what do I need to do first, but
mm-mm.
if I see it all in front of me, the specific deadlines, that can help inform, okay, this needs to go first, this needs to go second.
Okay. So approach. Now, from a coaching perspective, there's more than one way to do it. Just so you guys understand, we've already assessed where she needs to focus. That's how we got this value list. We already know her top value. She rattled them off. Like there's things y'all can do without me. And sometimes it does take some help, which is why people have coaches. You want to get there faster, you call me up. But in the real world, sometimes we can just sit down and have the right checklist. So let's just create our checklist of what we just kind of did, because you will find out that if you stick with honestly following what you said is important to you. Here's the other problem. Can we talk about the sleep? I'm saying that sleep, rest, recovery, work versus play needs to be scheduled, and we're not doing it first.
Yeah.
So sleep, vacay, rest. I really recommend y'all put that back here. Remember, I calendar the vacations quarterly. So remember how we went by, I'm just giving you a thorough, no holds bar, giving you the heads up. The quarterly, the quarterly, I will do the vacations first. Maybe we're looking at anniversaries, birthdays, etc., conferences. These things get scheduled I put them in the calendar as soon as I can and build around that. Because I don't plan on having to move. All right. But if you don't say, here's what time I'm going to bed, here's the routine, let's have a routine around our child's wake and sleep time the same way we should for ourselves if we care about getting that rest, which, to be honest with you, a lot of you are coming in with, if you're watching this on replay, do us all a favor and put how many hours you're actually getting of sleep. And it's less than you think because you're not asleep the whole time you're laying down. Let's make our checklist now. What are we going to do first?
Make a list of the deadlines.
Priorities first. What's top? Health, family, freedom. That I keep up front because without it, you tend to get lost in the tasks, right? Checklist number 1. What's your top priorities? And I try to get to top 2 or 3. 3 max. Top priority. Health, family, blah, blah, blah. You know?
Yeah.
And freedom is it has money components, you know, like your job. You need money
Yep.
to do stuff. Okay. Number 2, what did you say?
Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Briefly.
So we prioritize, you got your values, you got your
Get the priorities, and then the broadest view
deadlines.
first. So yeah, deadlines.
Yes, I try to get them in that, deadlines based on what we talked about already is like, this has to be done at a certain time and I need to see it in one place. The next thing I usually do is put in, this is what makes me different, vacations, family time. These things are already in, so I build around them. So you know how you start a new job and you tell them, here's when I'm available? I tell them, here's when I can't even start till this date because I'm not asking.
Right.
Y'all can get to that point too, but you've got to be more strategic and organized. Vacations, family time, put them in the calendar next. So after that, you said health was top of the, so now we're going to put in your appointments for church,
Okay.
healthcare, right? Healthcare appointments, church. And this is not what we do every single solitary week because some of it becomes routine. But once you get this down, you're much more disciplined weekly because you're constantly keeping the right thing at the top of the list. So I'll make my appointments long before I make these other commitments.
Yeah.
And so you start telling people when you're available, not when you're not. So let's practice. Somebody says to you, can you X, Y, or Z? What's your response?
I have to look at my calendar.
That's a good one. You may tell them, send me over some suggestions or send over your requests. And I can tell you when I'm available. That's work-life mastery doesn't have to be hard, but it does require discipline, strategy, planning, and focus. And many of us just, what do you think gets in the way? Which is kind of why I'm a coach, right? What gets in the way?
So many things. The noise of outside, people giving what they think is priority, what their ideology is, and the individual losing sight of what their actual values are. Yeah.
That's all it is. Reach out if you want to get some help. Really, I do free strategy sessions for people. Reach out if you need help with this. But I really gave you the truth about it is that simple. I find that most people, their martyrdom gets in the way, that martyr mindset that most of us women are trained to serve everybody first. Well, if your health is suffering or you're not getting enough rest or you're not taking good care, putting yourself on the back burner is one of the main reasons why I have to help you guys kind of reframe. No, your health does come first. Your appointments come first. And I was on you recently, so I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So we will